perfect college for you could be very difficult. Some of these factors include the cost of attending, how far is it from home, the prestige of the school, and the overall culture of the school as well. And most importantly, getting accepted to the school. For me, it took a few tries to find this perfect college for me. I first attended Cal State San Marcos out of high school. I went there for a year. It was not for me. Then I went to community college for a year, did that. Then I finally got to transfer to the school that was right for me, UC Berkeley. But for me, I did not take the conventional way to attending UC Berkeley like most students. So today I'm going to be going into depth in my transfer journey on why I transferred so many times and why it ended up being the perfect choice for me. And if you're new to the channel, my name's Adam Ramirez. I hope you consider subscribing and please like the video. And I'll be breaking down this video into 3 parts, with the first part being why I chose Cal State San Marcos out of high school. Secondly, then going to community college, and lastly, why I chose UC Berkeley. And with that, let's get right into the video. So coming out of high school, I was not the best academic student. I mainly prioritized my time on sports. And it wasn't until my last year of high school that I realized that I had my priorities mixed up. And this really limited my options for picking which college I wanted to attend. I applied to most of the UCs and straight up just got denied by all of them. I applied to most of the Cal States as well, and I got only accepted to 2. Cal State San Marcos, and honestly I think that's the only Cal State that I got into. I got denied from, I remember, like Cal State LA, SDSU, Cal Poly, yeah, most of them. It was pretty bad, and honestly I didn't have a lot of options for going to college out of high school. And looking back on it, I probably should have just went to community college, but there's something about going to community college out of high school that just doesn't seem pleasing. It doesn't seem glamorizing, seeing all your friends going to these great universities and you're just stuck at home going to community college. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to sacrifice 2 years and also just have the stamp of being a community college student. So I decided to go to Cal State San Marcos, which was about an hour and 30 minutes away from my home. And college life at San Marcos was great. During my first year, I did not regret it at all going to San Marcos. I was doing well academically. I was making a lot of friends. I was living the college life. I was living in the dorms, and I also joined Greek life there as well. But there was also a sense in me that knew that because I was killing it in all my classes, that I deserved to go to a better school. There were times where I just felt like I should be at a better school like my friends that are at other UCs. And this really brought up the idea of maybe transferring to community college, or just trying to transfer from Cal State San Marcos to either UCLA or UC Berkeley. And then later in my second semester at Cal State San Marcos, we all ended up having to go home and classes were just online. So that really incentivized me to just go to community college, which I was already thinking about doing, but honestly, I don't think I would have gone through with going to community college, just because I didn't want to say bye to all my friends, and also I just didn't want to have that 1 year of just being at home while all my friends are having fun at Cal State San Marcos. But COVID really motivated me to transfer to community college because, one, community college, you have such a higher chance of getting into UCs and also other Cal States rather than Cal State applicant. I think the chances increased like 2-fold or 3-fold of getting in from a community college. So it was a no-brainer to go to community college, with also like with COVID happening and everybody just being online for a year. So it just made sense to just do community college because, one, I'll be saving money, and 2, I could finally fulfill my dream of going to a UC. So because of that, I made the leap of faith. I dropped out of Cal State San Marcos and I attended my local community college, Mount Sac. Starting off at community college, I was severely behind on being eligible to transferring to UC within 1 year. I think I only had like 22 units from Cal State San Marcos that would have been eligible to transfer to UC. So I had a lot of catching up to do. So that summer, I enrolled in 7 units, did the 7 units over the summer. In the fall, I did 21 units as well. And then we had a winter session as well, so I did 7 units that winter session as well. And then my final spring semester, I did 19 units. With all those units that I did, I transferred with 67 units to UC Berkeley. And it was very stressful just trying to contact counselors, just knowing if I'm on the right path to being eligible for transfer, because coming from a 4-year university to community college to trying to go to a UC, there's a weird rule where you have to stay within 60 to 70 units. So I was consistently just going like on assist.org and also talking to my counselors on if I was still in the interval of being eligible for transfer. And overall, I enjoyed my time at community college. I didn't have to worry about missing out on anything that was happening at Cal State San Marcos because everybody was online. Everybody was still on lockdown. People weren't really partying. So I really honestly lucked out, and I don't know if I would have done it if these restrictions weren't in place. But if you're really adamant about going to a UC or a better university, this is definitely the way, especially if you're coming from like a 4-year university that I came from. Your chances increase a lot more if you're trying to get into like a state school from going to a community college. So I highly recommend it, and it's definitely a sacrifice, but if you really want it, it's a sacrifice that you know you have to be willing to pay. And with the last part of the video, with transferring from community college to UC Berkeley, it was not an easy process. I remember staying up super late just trying to perfect my essays while trying to do 21 units as well, and also the waiting process of not knowing if I was even eligible for transfer at the time. So I was a little nervous on if I was actually going to get into any UCs, but it worked out in my favor, and I was able to get into like every UC that I applied to. Coming from a student that didn't get into any UCs as a high school student and also got denied for most Cal States as a high school student as well, I was able to take this path and become a bear. And when I tell this story to like other transfer students at UC Berkeley, they're like, what the hell? Like, you took a really strange path to transferring. And honestly, when I was going through the process, I was hoping that I could find like other people that did the same process that I was trying to do, and there was like 0 YouTube videos, 0 things on Reddit. So I hope this video really helps people that are trying to do somewhat of the same thing that I did. And feel free to ask any questions down below. I know the transfer process is very tricky and there's a lot of different rules to it, so feel free to ask them in the comments down below. And I think that wraps up my unconventional transfer story of how I went from Cal State San Marcos to community college to UC Berkeley. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to be generous with the like button and maybe consider subscribing as well. But with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.